Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American comedy horror film from 2020, titled Scare Me. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie begins with Fred Banks, a struggling actor and writer, moving to a remote mountain cabin to write in isolation. He hires Bettina, another aspiring writer, to drive him to and from the cabin. After settling in, it becomes clear that Fred is dealing with writer's block, and that night, while eating dinner, he hears strange noises coming from the basement but finds nothing unusual. The next day, while jogging, Fred meets Fanny Addy, a successful horror author known for her acclaimed novel Venus. Fred also introduces himself as a horror writer, but Fanny is unimpressed with his attempts to establish himself, and the two eventually part ways. Later that night, Fred looks up Fanny online and discovers that everything she said about her achievements is true, and suddenly, a thunderstorm knocks out the power in his cabin. While searching for a flashlight, Fred is startled by Fanny at the window, who has come to his cabin because of the power outage. Fanny invites herself in and brings along her notebook where she jots down ideas for her stories. To keep warm, they start a fire and the two begin drinking together. To liven up the night, Fanny proposes a challenge. They will take turns telling scary stories to try to frighten each other. Initially hesitant because he doesn't have a story to tell, Fred is persuaded by Fanny to use his imagination, reminding him that he is a writer. Fred's first attempt fails to captivate her, but as Fanny pushes him further, he managed to tell a tale about a young boy who witnesses his parents being killed by a werewolf and grows up to seek revenge. Fred enhances the story with sound effects, voice acting, and vivid imagery, but Fanny critiques him for making the protagonist a stereotypical white male. Feeling defensive, Fred challenges Fanny to share one of her own story ideas. Instead of using a pre-written concept, Fanny improvises a chilling story about a young girl who tries to kill her creepy grandfather but accidentally kills his dog instead. The girl becomes haunted by both the grandfather and the dog after their deaths. After telling the story, Fanny grabs Fred's phone to order a pizza and notices angry texts from his ex-girlfriend, Meredith. Fred becomes agitated, eventually confessing that he had behaved obsessively toward Meredith, even making violent threats that led her to file a restraining order. He admits that ever since his wife left him, he suffered a mental breakdown and has been struggling to find purpose in his life. After reconciling, Fred and Fanny decide to collaborate on a story about a troll living in the walls of an edible arrangement store. In the story, the troll persuades a frustrated secretary to murder her sleazy boss in exchange for 300 years of life. However, their storytelling is interrupted by the arrival of Carlo, the pizza delivery driver, who shows interest in their creative process. Fanny invites Carlo to stay and join their storytelling session, and as a fan of Fanny's work, Carlo eagerly agrees. Together, Carlo and Fanny do cocaine and reenact scenes from Venus, Fanny's best-selling novel, and Fred becomes visibly irritated, feeling overshadowed by Fanny's success and confidence. Noticing Fred's insecurities, Carlo teases him subtly while enjoying the performance. Frustrated and eager to assert himself, Fred urges Fanny to fully act out the story of Venus. Fanny, along with Carlo, delivers an intense and captivating performance, further fueling Fred's jealousy. While under the influence of cocaine, the trio collaborates on a new story about a singer who makes a pact with the devil to win a nationwide talent competition. The catch is that the singer becomes possessed and can only perform songs about widespread murder. After their wild session, Carlo thanks Fanny for the opportunity and gets her autograph before leaving to complete more pizza deliveries. Inside the cabin, Fred asks to tell one final story, and it becomes apparent that the story is about a jealous nobody who murders a successful author, and Fanny realizes Fred is talking about them. Fred then reveals that while Fanny was away, he read her notebook of ideas. He accuses her of stealing their shared stories and taking notes about him and his inability to accept that she's the better writer. Drunk and furious, Fred confronts Fanny with a fire poker, accusing her of exploiting him for inspiration. When Fanny mocks his lack of talent and demands her notebook back, Fred loses control and chases her around the house with the poker.
Creepy footsteps, right? Hey.
However, during the chaotic pursuit, Fred trips on the stairs and accidentally impales himself on the poker. Bleeding heavily, Fred insists he was only joking about wanting to kill Fanny, and he begs her to put him out of his misery, saying he doesn't want to suffer any longer. Hesitant at first, Fanny picks up a log from the fireplace as if to grant his wish but ultimately puts it down. She decides to leave the cabin, walking out as Fred lies bleeding on the floor. The next morning, Bettina arrives to check on Fred, and unaware of the events that transpired, she explores the cabin and finds Fanny's notebook, filled with story ideas, completely oblivious to Fred's corpse on the stairs. In a mid-credits scene, it's revealed that Bettina has used the stories in the notebook to write a book of her own, becoming a famous author in her own right as the movie concludes. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Scare Me from 2020. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.